call me by your name and I'll call you by mine. Get it? Hello everybody, it's me, Elis, but you can call me Elis, because it's easier for North Americans. Today I wanted to talk about my name, because my name is a little bit unique. It's not just unique to foreigners, it's even a little bit unique back home. But before we continue, please make sure to subscribe, like, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. It's so appreciated. As you may have noticed by my channel name, my name is Elis, and my last name is Ingebergsson, and my middle name is Veigar. And you may notice that my first name is spelled with just one L, which is here traditionally spelled with two L's. My name is actually pronounced Elis in Icelandic, but I'm fine when people call me Elis here in Canada and in North America. It just makes things easier. It is a far cry from the mispronunciation that I get at home, because my name is not that common back home. I have never met anyone in Iceland named Elis. I know there are some people out there. I am Facebook friends with one of them, but traditionally back home, my name would be spelled with an accent over the I and would be pronounced Elis. So my first name has been a little bit troublesome my entire life, not only because it's constantly mispronounced, but also because my parents had a hard time even getting the priest to christen me with that name. So I'm named after my great aunt's late husband, who was a mentor to my dad, and my dad loved him. He sadly passed away shortly before I was born. Pretty much everybody grew up believing that his name was Elis, but when my dad called my great aunt to ask her if he could name me after him, she told him that his actual name was Elis. So if I wanted to be named after him, he would have to drop the accent. The priest that my parents selected for my christening had never heard that name and refused to name me Elis or christen me Elis, and said it should be Elis. And my dad, being the stubborn head that he can be, told the priest, if you're not gonna christen him Elis, then we'll just find another priest to do it. So we thought for the longest time that was the end of that. Turns out when I was 14 years old and was getting confirmed, the priest would always call me Elis. And I told him, no, it's Elis. And he said, I can't confirm you with the name Elis because that's not how it's registered. So in Iceland, we have this big registry of everybody's names. It's a kind of a census, but not really. I don't think many countries have the equivalent of this. It's called Þjóðskrá. So at age 14, that's when we find out that I have been improperly registered in Þjóðskrá with the name Elis. So we reach out to them and tell them there has been a mistake, that my name is actually Elis, not Elis, and they refuse to change it and tell us that we'll have to pay 5,000 Icelandic kroner, which is about, if the exchange rate was flat, it would be $50, and I would have to have a legal name change, which is ridiculous because I didn't want to change my name. We just wanted my name to be corrected. So we told them, no, I was christened Elis, and that's what it should be. So Þjóðskrá had to reach out to the church where I was christened and look in their book where they put down all the names and everything that they have christened babies with. And it turns out in the book, because the priest was so stubborn about naming me Elis and wanted to name me Elis, you couldn't tell if there was a dot or an accent over the I. And Þjóðskrá had been so stubborn with us have to do a legal name change and having us pay the $50 and we pushed back, and they just quietly fixed my name and didn't even let us know. I kind of thought when I moved to Canada that I would have a less difficult time with my name, but as I said before, it's not. And usually my Starbucks cup says Alice, like Alice in Wonderland, and people will call me different variations of my name. According to thinkbabynames.com, Elis as a name for boys, also used as girl's name Elis, has the meaning Jehovah is God. Elis is a version of Elias, which is Greek or Hebrew. So my parents are definitely not Jehovah's Witnesses and not really that religious at all. I'm certainly not religious. So it's a funny little thing. My great aunt's husband who died, he was of Faroese heritage, so I always assumed it was a Faroese name. So Elis as a girl's name is of Hebrew derivation, and Elis means God is myth, God is my oath, Jehovah is God. It's quite the name. So my middle name is Veigar, and I get that name from my great grandmother. She was a funny woman that I loved very dearly, and she loved me and Dad a lot. In my father's side of the family, I'm not sure if it's a tradition, but it seems to be a little bit of a tradition that we ask people if we can name babies after them. And I know that my great-grandmother said no to other relatives when they asked if they could name their kids after her, but she allowed my dad to do that. Her name is Guðveig, so kind of the male form of that name would be Veigar. Funny enough, Guðveig means strength of God, but Veigar means a strong soldier. I find something really funny in North America is that people don't really use their middle names, and pretty much the only times that they use their middle names is when they don't like their first name, so they go by their middle name. In Iceland, we use our middle names in almost everything, and even like some people like go by both of their first name and their middle name. And when you're signing documents and signing up for Facebook, everybody puts their middle name, but that's not a North American thing, and I find that curious. So now we're at my last name, which is Ingibergsson. So Ingibergsson is technically not a last name because we don't really have family names or last name in Iceland. There are certain ones you cannot just take up a last name. We're trying to get that changed. The youth movement of my political party is trying to get that changed. I'll get into that a little bit later, but my last name is my dad's name, which is Ingibergur. Then it gets conjugated to Ingibergs because that's kind of off Ingibergur, or Ingibergs is a conjugation of like when you own something. And because I am a boy and identify as a boy, I am Ingiberg's son. So if I have a kid in Iceland, they would be Elis' son or Elis' daughter. The rules have been changed around the last name. It used to always just be your father's first name and then with son or daughter after, but you are now able to, and have been for a long time, to use your mother's name. So if I wanted to use my mom's name, I would be Valnjarsson, or I could even have both their names and be Valnjars and Ingebergsson. I can't say it's been a walk in the park having such a long last name here in Canada, especially one that people are not familiar with. So when I start spelling it out to people, I can just see in their faces, oh my God, is this never gonna end? So we have a weird little phenomenon in Iceland where we have people's names committee. It's usually, I think, a 5-people committee. So when you want to name your kid a name that no one has been named before, or it's some weird name, or it's a foreign looking name, it has to go before the Mannanafnanefnd, which is the people naming committee. And their purpose is to make sure that the name conjugates in Icelandic, that the name doesn't hurt the Icelandic language. It's so arbitrary, it is so ridiculous, and I'm so happy that we have people currently in Parliament working on changing that, because I am sorry, if you can have a baby and you are able to be responsible for that baby, you should be able to name that baby the hell you want. Of course, like, the likelihood of someone naming their baby something really mean and really gross is like so low. And also, if the baby is unhappy with that name, they should be able to change it to whatever they want. This mannaratnanemnd is child of its time and needs to go away. For the longest time in Iceland, we didn't have any gender neutral names, or like we had names that would appear to be gender neutral, but they had been assigned a gender in the registry. So when people would try and use them for the opposite gender, it was a big battle that these people had to go through. But in 2009, a law was passed regarding self-gender expression and being able to self-identify your gender and decide who you are. And when those laws passed, it also changed the laws on names. So now you can pick from any side of the pool or pick from the few gender neutral names that we actually have. And I think that is fantastic. There was a slight chance I could have ended up with a completely different name. And actually, I would have been very happy with that name as well. My mom wanted to name me Helgi Valur, which would mean Holy Battlefield. That's kind of cool. So I would have loved that name. What I would have even loved also about the name is that I would be named after my parents, because my dad's middle name is Helgi and my mom's name is Valni, so Valur is a male format. And I would have loved that too, but I do really love the name I have. I love to be named after these two great people. My great-grandmother, oh my god, like what a character. And I love, despite how tedious and difficult it has often been to have such a unique name, I will never give up on correcting people and making sure that I go by the correct name. I hope you found this video informational and fun. Also, I know some people know the names that they could have been named but didn't end up getting. So if you know yours, please leave it down in the comments. I would love to know what they are. And I'll see you next time. Bye.